arguments, it's no beef, it's straight peace. Like, it's a beautiful relationship. At this point in time, I start to develop feelings. He started opening up about childhood trauma, but he had been through a lot of different stuff. Everything seems good. So one day he's like, my brother's finna come over here. He having some problems. I was like, I didn't know you had a brother. He was like, well, it's not my blood brother, but for the sake of this video, I'm not going to say the organization's name. And if y'all pick up what I'm putting down, there's an organization that it's been around for a while. It's all men. I'm not saying all of them are bad or this, that, and the third, but he's like, his brother's coming over and they're a part of this brotherhood. I was like, okay, didn't know that. I was like, okay, I didn't know you was a part of this. He was like, and at one point, didn't you want to be one too? Now, I knew when I wanted to be one that the person I had contacted told me, okay, we'll be watching you. You need to do some community service, do X, Y, Z. Nothing crazy. He was like, you want to be one too, right? I was like, yeah, how did you know that? He explains what I just told y'all. I was like, okay, cool. Do you need me to leave while your brother vent or whatever? You know, do y'all need y'all privacy, this, that, and the third? He was like, no, we good. I want you to meet him. Okay, boom. Whole time he had never said his brother's name. And then I hear a knock at the door. He lets his brother in. His brother is Jamal. So Jamal comes in. Jamal's energy, everything is calm. It's no malice. He just normal. He was like, hey, what's up? I was like, nothing much. Him and Jamal sit out there, talk, conversate. And I was like, well, I got something to say. He leans closer to me and say, I get it. I already know, but right now it's like not the time. We ain't even on none of that. Stern, cold. I said, okay. I get up and excuse myself because at this point I'm finna go in there and pack. So I say I'm in the room 5-10 minutes, and he comes up in there and he has a bottle in his hand. And he was like, come on, take some shots with us. I was like, nah, this is kind of weird because, you know, he's basically the reason that I'm here right now. And he was like, I kind of may know something about that, but honestly, he done chilled down. He got bigger stuff to worry about. He was like, come take some shots. I was like, no, I'm really not feeling taking no shots. Like, whatever. He was like, just take a couple on for me. Like, he does this little pound thing. It used to always get me. So I was like, okay, I'll take some shots. Wind up taking some shots with them. I was like, okay, in my head, I'm still finna get away from y'all. I'm gonna make it look clean, cool, whatever. Go back in the room. Some time has passed. Probably 15-20 minutes. I done called me a Uber. I'm finna wait until the Uber is outside. I'm finna make an X. He comes back in the room. Jamal is behind him. He comes over to me. He starts feeling on me sensually, all this stuff, kissing on me, talking about, come on, let's go. I said, let's go with it. Let's go. Like, you know what time it is. Proceeds to start undressing me. So I was like, your brother's right there. He's like, so ain't you done had both of us anyway? Taking it back is true, but I was like, I really ain't into that type of thing. And then honestly, I don't have nothing for your brother. Like, I have a slight hatred for your brother. He's like, so you hate him, you love me. He said something like a Libra sky. I'm a Libra moon. So he said something about balance, Libra, duality, something, whatever it was. And then he also pulls out my pheromone. And he was like, yeah, I want you to use all of this tonight. I was like, it ain't nothing but some oil that I take a couple of dabs on and put. He was like, no, tonight I want to try a few different things. I'm going to try and clean this up for TikTok. Tonight I want to try a few different things. So I'm normally, okay, so for anybody who may not know the terminology, I guess I can say this, y'all. I'm versed. It can go either way, but normally, I don't care, y'all say film talk, it's giving verse top, because you really ain't, I really ain't with that unless I'm in love with it. So he was like, no, I want to try everything. Let's all just enjoy each other fully. And he was like, I want you to use this as, once again, against my better judgment. All three of us engage in the act. Jamal was done. He was done. He shoots out. Once Brown was getting ready to finish, he asked me to in jest. I said, I don't do that. He said, oh, but you already having a lot more. The next day comes. I asked him about it. Makes a joke like, I was just talking. It ain't like you been drinking my blood or eating my seed. I get a text from Biggie saying basically, he finna come in town in a few days. Okay, out of nowhere, me and Brown 2.0 start getting into it. I mean, it hasn't gotten physical, but it's a lot of arguing. In the beginning, I was never attracted to him in any way that wasn't good. So this was never a person that could hurt my feelings. Now I'm starting to get my feelings hurt. I'm involved. I'm invested. All I'm seeing is him happen really fast. Like I say within 2 weeks. He was like, you know what? I think you should leave. He was like, no, I think like we need a little time apart, like a break. So don't go out there doing nothing stupid. But here, I'm going to give you this. I want you to go stay at this particular hotel. So I go to the hotel. Boom. Biggie texts me and says, hey, I'm back in town. We can't link because me and my ex are trying to reconcile. And I don't want to have any type of issues, blase, blase, blase. Maybe we can, meet up, catch up another time. But a few days before Biggie leaves, I start getting texts from Brown 2.0. Oh, I miss you. I just need a little bit more time. Mind foggy, making every excuse for him in the book. From him being hurt, him needing some space, blase, blase. Every excuse mentally I'm thinking of. And then also, I would snap out of it in moments and it'd be like, no, this still ain't right because you gotta always put yourself first. You gotta love yourself. That's what I preach to everybody. And y'all, my cutoff game is super strong. But for whatever reason, I was always drawn and compelled to him. Like I literally, from the time I moved in with him, I thought about him every single day, whether we were together or not. Biggie sends a text of like, hey, I just left. I don't think me and my ex are gonna work out. I wish I had a chill with you instead. I was like, stuff happens. We're human. We all have a heart or whatever. He was like, how's you and your boo doing? Like, blase, blase, blase. I was like, we hit a little rocky patch, but hopefully everything pays over. It's cool. At this point in time, I instantly get a text from Brown 2.0. He was like, I miss you. I want you to, get your stuff and come back. I'm finna come pick you up. Biggie then proceeds to say, I hope y'all work through y'all situations because the person that I fell in love with, it's like I don't even know them anymore. Still going on telling me kind of the same stuff about the ex, this, that, and the third. And I was like, what is it that you feel like you can't shake from him? He was like, I don't know. He just has some type of hold on me, but I gotta want better for myself. Okay, typical F-boy stuff, the cheating, bringing them back STDs, not paying bills. Like he said he wasn't working, and he was like, he's living in the house that I bought for us. Long story short, I asked him to let me see the boy. At this point in time, Brown 2.0 is outside to pick me up to come get my stuff. As I'm walking down the stairs, I hear my phone ping. He sends the picture. It is indeed Brown 2.0. All right, hey everybody, this is part 10 of a love spill going wrong. I don't make it in the car yet. I'm still texting Biggie. I'm asking questions, this, that, and the third, because I want to know, like, everything that's going on. Like, how long y'all been talking? How long y'all been on and off? I'm trying to dig and pry into other personal details, which he done already told me personal stuff, but I'm trying to ask certain questions without asking certain questions. So eventually, I wind up getting in the car. And I'm still texting when I send my last text or whatever. And he was like, hey, you supposed to be in the moment. We reunited. Why you not focused on me? I was like, I was just texting my homegirl, such and such. And he was like, you texting that. I was like, what's your issue? Like, where that just come from? It was something along the lines of he don't like her. She's not his type of people, whatever he was trying to say, which was crazy because some of the type of people he had been hanging out with, questionable, to say the least. But he was like, he just didn't care for her, whatever. But the crazy thing is, y'all, he's never met her a day in his life. And I was like, okay, do you want to just take me back? Because we getting off on the wrong foot already. He was like, no, I don't like you away from me for too long. I was like, sure. One day we decided to go out in public. Keep in mind, Biggie had already told me certain things, so certain things I'm looking out for. Okay, so we're going out in public, and not to sound in this type of way, but a lot of people in my city know me, so If I go to the Walmart, if I go out to eat here to a bar, somebody gonna see me, somebody gonna speak, hey, this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. He despises that. Like, he wouldn't physically say it in that moment, but like body language would tense up face. Like, he didn't want anybody ever talking to me like within a couple of feet. Like, at this point, he's trying to isolate. So at this point, he convinces me to just stay in the house. Like, don't go here, don't go there. And as far as your music, I don't think you should do that, because I know when you had to go out and do videos here and you like to show off your body, like, everything's an issue. Just every little thing is an issue. And it seems like it's building up to an argument. Let me go ahead and clock this before you even think to, oh, you finna get out. Let's go ahead and see how this finna go. I asked him one day, I was like, so how long y'all been on and off? And he was like, what you talking about? How long have you and Biggie been on and off? I don't think I know who that is. I said, well, let me see your phone. I pull out his phone and I pull out mine and I go to the contact on my phone. I go to his call log and I dial it. I said, so your husband is what it says? How long have you and your husband been on and off again? Y'all, with a straight face, he says, this is so old. I've been done with him. We don't do that back and forth, blase, blase, blase. And he was like, how do you even know about him? I said, I go to the text message. I said, you can read everything. Okay, this is part 11 of a love spell going terribly wrong. And it's really the part I was debating if I was going to tell y'all. He decides not to go through the phone. He just abruptly storms out, stays gone for a long period of time. Text him, no response, none of that. Location off, cool. After a long period of time, he finally comes back home. Comes home and nothing's happened. There's nothing, no need to discuss nothing. He just wants to instantly have sex. From that point, he starts trying to wine and dine me with like stuff he used to do in the very beginning. Like, it's the compliments when he used to tear down my self-esteem. It's the gifts. As we had been together for a period of time, I had just come to accept the bare minimum. I still have all these questions that he has not yet answered. What do you mean about me drinking unknowingly bodily fluids such as blood? Biggie said this is his house. You and Jamal's, like, it's so many questions. I asked him everything in the calmest, sweetest, most alluring type of voice. Like, I promise you, babe, I've been on some other stuff, but I'm gonna give you all the answers. I had this hotel booked for us for our anniversary, because our anniversary was coming up, and he was like, I'm gonna make everything right. This is gonna be the big moment or whatever. So the anniversary day finally comes, and he drives me to Atlanta. It's this nice hotel in Atlanta. It's on Peachtree somewhere. I'm not exactly sure of the name. The hotel is nice. The room is decked out. Like, when I say this man went all out for essentially the stunt he was finna pull. Room decorated, flowers, chocolate here, it's gift box, clothes laid out. I'm like, keep in mind, y'all, this is crazy because it's only a 1 year anniversary. I love all the stuff. I didn't get you all of this. He was like, no, it's fine. I want you to know that I really love you. I appreciate you. I'm gonna answer all your questions tonight. Everything gonna be like good from this point forward. I promise you that. While in the hotel, of course, we engaged in the action, like how his body, face, everything had tensed up. I had never seen that type of reaction before. It was odd. He presents me with this small box. I get ready to open the box. He was like, no, you can't open none of these until like 12 o'clock. When the clock strikes 12, it's gonna be something special. I just want you to keep an open mind, open heart. You know, I genuinely love you. He was like, I'm finna run to the store real quick, so I'm finna go get some more spirits. I was like, hey, where you at? What's going on? Like, why does it take you so long? He was like, just give me a minute. I ain't got tied up, but I'm coming right back. I had to make a couple of other stops. He was like, but make sure you don't open that box until 12. 11 o'clock comes, 11:30 comes. I text, no response. He's still not back. Call is going straight to voicemail. So y'all, 12 o'clock strike. It's like something woke up in that room. Room goes freezing cold. I pick up the box. It feels heavy. It feels cold. That's how I knew something was about to change. All right, y'all. This is part 12 of a love spell going extremely wrong. When I open the box, it's 3 objects inside. The first thing I noticed is a business card. His picture's on it. It doesn't say specifically what business he has. It's just a business card with a number on it that I'm not familiar with. Two, it is a letter that's folded so many times to it's like a small, tight square. And number three, it's a little bag with 2 pills inside of it. Apparently, I had pissed him off and he was leaving me there in Atlanta on our anniversary to cool off for some time until I got my act together. Other things were said in the letter, so he did live up to his promise to where he answered certain questions. Certain questions I kind of wish from that point I never asked. In the letter, it was certain things he was saying, like, I suggest you stay put. I'ma forgive you for what you did this one time, but don't let it happen again. I didn't know you was that promiscuous. Like, what is he talking about? Because literally the only person I've been having sex with is him. So I go to pillfinder.com, type in the information, and the pills are for chlamydia, gonorrhea, some type of STD. So now it makes sense that when he climaxed, like, he was in pain. But when I tell y'all, it gets so much worse, like how he tried to spin that. To just follow me. I call the business card. He answers on the first ring. And he's trying to speak in code almost as if he's around somebody. So he's acting like he actually has the business, like, oh, thank you for calling such and such finance. It is after business hours, but I'd be more than happy to help you at this point in time. I said, clean version, boy, this is Adrian. What are you talking about? Calm down. What are you talking about? Betraying you and like, he then, I guess he moved to a different room in a low murmur. He was like, so you still want to know the answers to all your questions? I was like, all that right now. What are you on? Like, what is this about? Like, what type of sick game are you playing right now? And why do you think this is okay, cool for you to treat me like your property? Like, no, I promise you, I do love you more than anything. But it's just certain stuff that you gonna have to understand. This is how it has to go. And it's some ground rules I told you when you got here that you're gonna have to follow. He was like, you want answers, right? You want answers. I was like, you got something to get off your chest. Go ahead and tell me, like, what's up? He said something really disturbing. And in so many words, the food he had been cooking, he had been bleeding in it. Really had been putting it in everything I had been eating. I said, what was the purpose of you doing that? He said, because now we have an unbreakable bond. I bet you never be able to forgive me. Even when I'm gone, you will see me everywhere. I said, you know what, Playboy? I got you. I'm finna show you a magic trick, for real. I had to pay for an Uber to even get back to my city. The Uber costed $180. While I'm leaving the hotel room, the person at the front desk, keep in mind, did not see them when we checked in because time has passed. It's a whole nother shift. They're asking, leaving so soon? Get back home. At this point in time, y'all, it's at least 3-4 o'clock in the morning. Whose car do I see parked outside? None other than Biggie. You moved me out way so you and your husband could play house for however long y'all were planning to play it. I said, I'm not doing this stupid crap like I'm nobody's little secret. I head to the back door. At the back door, by the trash can, I see 5 big ass trash bags. 2 around, 1 on top of the trash can. Like, it's trash going out to the road, but I'm like, we literally just left house clean. There shouldn't be any trash. Someone just said, look inside of the bag. It is literally all of my belongings. I'm talking about clothes, shoes, headphones, any type of notebooks I was writing stuff in. Literally everything is bagged up in these bags. I use my key, go through the back door. The alarm goes off. I'm walking towards the alarm system to disarm it. Something had already told me in my head, cut on every light coming through here. Go put in the alarm. Now, at the time I was in there, the alarm code had always been my birthday. Type in my birthday, doesn't work. I try his birthday, doesn't work. I then try Biggie's birthday. Ding, ding, ding. I get ready to turn around to walk up the stairs. They're already there. Brown 2.0 is behind Biggie. Biggie, he has a gun in his hand. Brown and the most flaming voice I've ever heard says, it's either me or him. You need to teach your just to respect me. Basically flipping the script and making it seem like I was Biggie's, I guess, Mr. or Mistress. Biggie, I'm not going to lie to you, at this point in time is looking at me like he's conflicted. And me and Brown 2.0 started arguing. And I said, you know what? If you want it done so bad, take it from him and do it yourself. We going heated back and forth for a minute. He's struggling to get the gun from Biggie. Him and Biggie start tussling. Man, give me that. I'm tired of this. Like he's trying to literally take the gun from Biggie. At this point, y'all, I'm hoping that you get it because I need to see how far you finna go. And if you love me like you say you are, what are you about to do? Y'all, he gets the gun from Biggie. But when I tell you, the shot that he threw my way pierced my heart. He didn't kill me, but I was dead inside after this. Okay, this is part 14 of a love spell going terribly wrong. And y'all, work with me because I gotta get ready. We get back to the house. Jamal is out there and he's standing with the police. This point, we get out the car and Big is like, hey, officer, is there an issue? So the police officer's asking, he was like, yes, is your name such and such? He was like, yes, it is. He was like, well, Mr. Brown wants his stuff out of the premises. And he was like, that's fine. He can get it, like it's not an issue. Why he could have came and got his stuff at any point in time. Nobody put him out. So Jamal was there to get his stuff because Brown painted it to the police like he was just so terrified. So apparently the police had been called before, but whatever happened last night, it had been the worst case of it. So here's the get you got you. The whole time this is going on, I asked him, I said, so where is Brown? The police officer says that Brown is also in jail because when he went down there to sign a warrant on Biggie, he already had some warrants on him for some other stuff that we finna get through later in the story. Cool. So at this point, I'm figuring Jamal is acting on behalf of Brown 2.0, which I feel like he had been doing from the very beginning. Like you're his do-boy, his cousin, his lover, and his friend. He's coming to get his stuff. Big is going to jail. And Jamal says, I'm not welcome in the house. I was like, first of all, how you going to tell me I'm not welcome in the house and I've been staying here? And so me and Jamal get to lightly arguing in front of the police officer. Jamal done told the police officer, I'm the reason that them two is fighting and I really have no right to be in the house, this, that, and the third. I said, well, actually, this is the homeowner. Jamal interrupts me. He's like, his name is on the property as well. I was like, okay, cool, but I've been staying here. We can prove this because I have mail coming here. So Jamal starts telling the police officer, well, he shouldn't be allowed to go in the house because he has something to do with what happened with Brown. I said, you mean your cousin? I had to throw that out there. He looks noticeably agitated at this point in time. Okay, cool. I was like, why I can't go in there? He was like, because I'm not getting all my brother's stuff, just a couple of things until we can get a U-Haul and get him moved up out of here. But I don't want you in there with my brother's stuff because you're being tried to do XYZ, pour bleach on it. Like, he's basically telling the police officer I would be doing petty stuff. I was like, no, honestly, I just need to stay here until I can get gone because you already know the situation. I'm trying to explain my side to the police. He's trying to explain his side to the police. At this point, all three of us sitting out there arguing, loud talking, doing all this. We look crazy. So from that point, Jamal's like, well, I do have a key because this house getting his stuff. I just didn't want it to be an issue with y'all. Cool, whatever. So the police is like, basically, go in there, get what stuff you came to get, and whatever key you have, give it to him. He can go and stay here until y'all get this sorted out. This is becoming a reoccurring thing because I didn't know they had been previously fighting like cats and dogs, physically, verbally. This had all been going on. Police had been called to a number of times to this house. So they already know what's going on. He goes into the house. He gets the stuff. So then, calm, cool, Jamal is like, oh, you don't have to worry about me coming back. Hands me the key. I'm thinking, I most definitely am finna see him tonight. Police there, they take Big to jail. Excuse me, I got like a lash in my eye. Keep in mind, he's military. This is DV. I'm knowing at this point that he is finna get a dishonorable discharge. And surprisingly, the first couple of nights, slept extremely well. Hadn't heard anything from Brown. Hadn't heard anything from Biggie. Jamal was long gone. No issues in sight. Now, this is the fun part of the story before everything goes back to hell. Weirdly enough, one of my friends had, I'm feeling lost. I'm going through so many different type of emotions. Hey, why not? Everybody was like, oh, they was having spiritual awakenings. I was just hearing all this different stuff about ego death and different stuff you would experience, different entities and stuff you would see. So I said, hey, why not give it a try? I'm not gonna get into how much, but I took enough to see things. At first, it didn't work. And after a while, it was like everything went black. I even forgot who I was to a degree. Like, literally, I didn't know who I was. Like, y'all, I can't explain it because I feel like a part of me died that day, but then I got a better understanding of myself. So, only thing I can tell y'all that I vividly remember from this trip was two main important things. I saw Brown 2.0, and I saw a cord attached to between him and my mother. And I was laying in the bed, and it was something behind me. Like, I can tell it was big, it was gray, and it was kind of like we were spooning in a bed. Bed was red, the thing was gray. He was like, your mom and Brown 2.0 are the same demon. Story for another time, which I probably will never get into. Me and my mother don't have like the best relationship, or we don't hate each other. It started explaining to me, like, in a sense, the similarities between these two people. Never would have thought to correlate them to. Also, while I was on the trip, I told the thing behind me, I was like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm done with him. Like, I'm never going back. Like, I promise you, this is like the last time. The thing literally got up behind me, like, still in the bed, but kind of like sat up. And it was like, you will lay down again. Calm, no malice, no whatever. But the thing literally looks like a demon. From that point, I literally laid back down again. Almost like if my free will had been played with. Like, however, this is where the trip takes the turn for the worse. So as I'm nearing like hour 4 or 5 of being there, I hear banging on the windows. Same thing. 2 times here, 2 times there, 2 times there. You have 2 options. Can you guess exactly who it is? Hey everybody, this is part 15 of A Little Spell Gone Wrong. I hear the banging on the windows. I hear the banging on the doors. I'm not scared, but I'm not in my right mind. I run up the stairs and lock myself in the master bedroom. I look out the window, try and steal a car, see nothing. I'm panicking at this point. But then something said, he has a tick, and this is the second time you've heard it. So I guess when I was still on my trip, I was really in tune. Once I heard it was a tick and this is the second time, I instantly remember when I was staying back at my other place and he knocked on the windows 2 times. Stayed up there. Morning came, nothing. This cycle repeated literally for 9 days straight. I would hear banging on the windows. Nobody's out there. I'm not finna go outside. I'm knowing it's Jamal, but I can't prove it at this point in time. But later on, I found out I was correct. I get a call one day from the lady at the apartment complex that I had been looking at. So she told me something had recently become available. I was like, good, great. I can go ahead and move my stuff. Move all of my stuff out of the house, move into the apartment. Everything is pretty much good from this point in time. I don't hear anything from Biggie, Jamal, or Brown 2.0. I say at least 2 months. So the place I move into, nobody knows the exact location except for Big. He doesn't even know the unit number, but he knows the complex. Okay, fast forward, like I said, I had been there for like 2 months. All of a sudden one day, I get a phone call from an unknown number. The first time, let it go to voicemail. Surprisingly enough, they left a voicemail. But the only thing I hear is a whole bunch of wind, people talking, like whatever's going on, this person doesn't know they're being recorded, but I can't really catch a voice. After a while, I started getting random weird text messages, and y'all, I want to post some of the stuff, but just weird random messages that nobody is really sending to anybody. Like, I don't know how anybody could mistake my number for some of the text that's coming through. Paying no mind, cool. At this point, still not putting anything together. So from this point, I started talking to this boy. The name kind of doesn't matter, so we just gonna call him Olive. Me and Olive hit it off, cool, really attached to me. Pheromones still working strong, actually stronger than ever at this point since I did all those other things with it. First 2 months, everything peaceful. Me and him good, everything's normal, copacetic. Out of nowhere, he comes to me and he utters a familiar phrase that I've heard before. He was like, I just wanted to tell you, I don't think we can talk anymore. I was like, so what's going on? He was like, because I keep having reoccurring nightmares. There's something's attached to you and it's trying to get at me to get me away from you. I was like, the same thing that Diddy said. Once he said this to me, I instantly knew I had to make a phone call. And after I made the phone call, I found out that Brown 2.0 had just been released from jail. Still no word on Biggie. Haven't heard anything about Biggie for a long period of time at this point. Tried to go by the house. There's nothing there. The house is still in good standing. I think his mom was there, but I don't know his mom like this, so I'm really not finna go approach her and tell her all the craziness that happened. So once I just had a good feeling, the next time I got the unknown call, I said I was going to answer it. Until unknown calls get more and more frequent, like I'm talking at least 40 to 50 calls a day. Surely enough, it was Brown 2.0. And it's, oh man, I've been trying to get in contact with you. I'm sorry about everything that happened. I just want to sit down and talk to you so we can get an understanding, this, that, and the third. Me being conflicted, I really don't want to have anything to do with you, but I do want some answers. And honestly, I just want to know if any of it was real or was I just some type of punk. So I was like, okay, cool. We can meet up. I don't feel safe with you coming to my place. Y'all, why does this man say he calls out my exact address and apartment number? Out of respect for you, I chose not to come to your place, but I already knew where you were even before I got out. Crazy. And I was like, how do you know that? He was like, it's for your protection. I just want to always keep you close by. I said, no, this is obsessive. Like, I got so many questions I need you to answer. And I said, to be honest, I still don't want you in here. He was like, are you sure about that? I said, I'm dead ass serious. Y'all, he's calling me from the other side of the door. Alright, y'all, so this is part 16 of A Love Spill Gone Wrong. He is on the other side of my door. I'm talking to him through the door and I'm asking, how did you know that I was in here? He was like, man, just let me in. If I talk to you through the door, everybody gonna think I'm crazy and all this other stuff. I was like, or you can just not act crazy and be normal for once. Is that so hard for you to be normal? Out of nowhere, he started banging and kicking on the door, just screaming, I love you. 30 seconds later, it's calm. Man, can you just open the door and talk to me? 30 seconds after that now, he's crying. It's so many emotions he showed, literally, y'all. This is no exaggeration, within a 1 minute time frame. I was like, can you just answer the questions I got? I'm not letting you up in here. Y'all, out of all the questions I want to answer, he picks the most embarrassing thing to start screaming at the top of his lungs. Well, I put the pills in there because I was burning, I was scared, I gave you an STD against my better judgment. But also to save me the sake of embarrassment, because I've only been here 2 months, to keep down the commotion, because you're not finna get me put out here. I've been from pillow to post at this point. I don't have time to be sleeping on nobody else's couch. I opened the door and he's like, can I come in? I was like, I'm opening the door. And he was like, that's all I need to hear. First thing he says is, I see you still been doing yo glamour magic. Staying with him for a long period of time is certain things that I did pick up and start doing. So glamour magic is one thing I still do to this day. Glamour magic, beauty magic, cool. I was like, thank you. At a certain point, it became hard for him to give me compliments. Like, so this was his way of saying you look nice. He was like, first, I want to start by saying I apologize for all the stuff I put you through. I just been through a lot of heartache, a lot of heartbreak. And I was like, to be honest, let's just save all that and let's get where we need to go. He then comes in to try and hug me, but his hands are on the back of my head. And I push him away, but it's something wet on the back of, like, behind my ear. I was like, did you spit on me? He was like, no. Move past, but take note of that. We sit down, we talk. He was like, so where you want to start first? And I said, first and foremost, I want to know, are you sleeping with your cousin? He proceeds to say, on occasion. He went in on this long story about when he was younger, Jamal used to do inappropriate things to him, and nobody ever stopped it, and as they grew older, they just kept doing certain things. Or Jamal, how he put it, Jamal would coerce him into doing certain sexual things to this day. It'll be something like, oh, he's sad, depressed, and oh, he wants somebody to love him, so then they hook up, but they're literal first cousins. I was like, you don't think this is weird? He was like, no, to be honest, I know it's not right, but I just had to do a lot of self-reflecting. The entire time, anytime he brought up any of the questions I had and he was explaining stuff, he would always, I'm changing, I'm working on myself, self-reflect. I'm listening at this point, not believing it. Still have love for him, but I'm knowing this BS. I said, okay, so explain Big. He was like, I started talking to Biggie when I needed a place to stay. I moved in with him. I had been talking to him for like 8 years, even though Biggie said it was like 6. So both of their timeline was completely off. I don't know who was stepping outside first. But he was like, I started talking to him. I was never really sexually attracted to him. He just had money. I said, so what are you still doing with him now? He was like, well, you know, that love mother or whatever. I was like, so you love him? He was like, yes. He was like, but I love you too. I was like, and so how many other people do you love? He says he doesn't love anybody but us two, but there are a couple of other people who love him. At this point in time, I say about 15 minutes after that topic came up, he gets a call. I can kind of hear a voice, but I can't hear a voice, but this voice sounds familiar. Hangs up on it. I was like, so who was that? He was like, that was just somebody who always just want my attention, but I ain't feeling him like this, that, and the third. I said, okay, cool. Asked him next question. I said, so are y'all married? He was like, no, I just had him saved in my phone as my husband because I always want to be married. There would be some, he always wants to be married. I said, so did you ever seek me out and set Jamal up with the situation? He was like, no, actually, like I said, I had been watching you and been wanting to approach you because I had just seen you around. But Jamal knew I had a crush on you, and so he started sliding in your inbox. He even went on to say, like, Jamal was creating fake Grindr and Jack profiles and was inboxing me from those profiles. I went to the app and found out it was true. I went back and asked him about the business card and the whole leaving me stranded. He was like, yeah, I told you some stuff I got to work on. Like, don't keep bringing it up. Like, I know I messed up, but just ask the questions that you want to ask. Like, getting slightly irritated. And I was like, well, you can get out, because really righteously, I didn't invite you over. He was like, you did invite me in. I was like, here we go with this. So I said, so what was you doing with Biggie? He was like, I do love him, but also I was trying to see if either the three of us could work something out or if I could get him out of the picture. Time goes by. He starts confessing his love, talking about he working on himself. He's answered majority of the questions. I still have certain questions that I want to know, but he's kind of dancing and tiptoeing around me. So then I asked him, I said, did you really put your blood in my food? He was like, yes. I was like, why? And he was like, because from the moment I saw you, I knew you were something that I just had to have, and I wanted you to be with me forever. And he was like, and it's still going to be that way to this day. I was like, who else have you done this to? And like, what's going on? He was like, when I asked who else he had done this to, he didn't want to elaborate, danced around it. I said, okay, cool. You said you're changing, but a lot of the behavior that you're showing me right now still shows. At this point, we've been talking for hours, talking in circles, talking out the side of our necks, all this type of stuff. So he was like, come on, I want to go on a drive. I want to take you somewhere, and I think you'll appreciate it. It's something I took from you a while ago, and I want to give this back to you. All right, y'all, this is part 16 of a love spell going terribly wrong. So we get to the destination. At this point in time, it's 11 pushing 12 o'clock at night. Y'all, he literally took me to a cemetery. I said, what's the purpose of this? He was like, come on, just get out the car. It's something I want to show you. I was like, no, it's the dead of night. We at a cemetery. I don't know what type of weird stuff that you own. He was like, no, I promise you, I told you I took some away from you, and I want to give it back. Y'all, I get out the car. Don't ask me why. We walking. Boom. We come across a grave site. Who's on the grave site? None other than Brown, the first original Brown. And I said, you're sick. Small part I left out. I did want to go to Brown's funeral. He would not let me go. He was so against it. If you moving on and I'm the new love of your life and he's dead, I'm not going to compete with a dead man. He just saying all this other stuff. So we at the grave site, and he was like, now you can say your goodbyes and pay your respects. While he says that, he leans down and I see him pick up some dirt from around Brown's grave. At the time, I did not know what this meant. Now I do. I was like, no, like, and what are you doing? Like, to be honest, the damage had already been done. You can't bring them back. You can't take back what you did. Like, just let's be done with it. He was like, you don't got nothing that you want to say. I was like, no, appreciate the gesture, but peace. I'm going back to the car. I go back to the car first. He's still out there. Gets back in the car. He dusting his hands off. I see him put something in his pocket. I was like, so why are you picking up dirt from around his grave? I said, you know what? Matter of fact, I don't want to know because I already know this some type of hoodoo, voodoo, witchcraft, or something that you're doing. Before he cranks up the car to pull off, he pulls up Find Mine on his iPhone. And I'm just looking, y'all. It's at least 20 to 30 different people location he has. He cranks the car up. We start headed back towards my house. At this point in time, I'm asking him more questions that I needed answers to. He's still dancing around stuff, like not like the typical dancing around he was just doing. Everything's a joke, everything's funny, everything's laughing it off like it's not that big of a deal. We get back to my house. He was like, can I come in? Like, no, to be honest, I'm not even in the mood to deal with you. I gotta get up for work early in the morning. Now, my off days just have always been the same thing. So he was like, I thought you didn't work on X day. I was like, nah, they had to call me in. It's a lot of stuff going on, blase, blase. Cool. I was lying, but this is how I said something's not adding up, that you can always have access to me and you know where I'm at. I didn't know if he had me followed or if somehow he was tracking me, but I was determined to find out. So he dropped me off. He was like, okay, well, after you get done with work, just hit me up. I was like, okay, cool. Then I asked him before I got out the car, I said, and how do you always know how to find me? And he comes with this bullshit, oh, we're soulmates and X, Y, and Z, and we always gonna be attached and linked to each other. I said, okay, slam door, go inside. So the next morning comes, I get completely dressed as if I'm going to work. I don't know if I'm being followed, but this time I bring me a small bag with me of a change of clothes. I go to work. I don't actually clock into work. I go in, I change in the bathroom. I leave my entire work uniform, shirt, pants, shoes, socks, hat, everything you can think of in a bag, and I tell them, hey, put this in the office for me. I left my clothes at the job and I go to a friend's house on the other side of town. So it was past the time that I had to get off work. So he was like, hey, you still at work? What's going on? Like, do you know when you'll be getting off? I was at my friend's house on the other side of town. I said, give me another hour. I go back to work, y'all. Some just said, in order for him to have thought you were at work, I knew he had to have been tracking something on my work uniform. I grabbed my shoes. So as I'm walking, for the first time, I had never heard this before, I hear something jingling in my shoes, like how you would get a rock stuck up in there. I hear something jingling. Something says, cut it open. So I cut open the heel of my work shoes. Lo and behold, it's a small little device hidden inside of my shoe. The shoe had been sliced open previously and sealed back up with this device on the inside of the heel of my shoe. I went ahead and hightailed it to my house because literally one thing that anybody who knows me, I'm gonna go to work. To this day, that was the perfect thing. I said, wow, this man is really crafty, really smart. He's texting me talking about, hey, I'm outside. How much longer you got? I said, just a few minutes. You know, it won't take that long. Texting again. Time has went by. He's still texting me outside of my job, thinking that I'm inside. Finally, he gets frustrated, and he decides to go inside of my job. Y'all, he calls me on the phone while he's at my job. He is throwing a fit, cussing at people, destroying property, even spit on the manager. And he says,